Thank you. This is Alphonse here. I'm very sorry for the quality of this video. I'm having a few problems with my camera and also the webcam, so that's why I'm actually recording this on an iPad, and it's a bit hard to juggle everything at the same time. But let me go back to the main point. I'm going to offer my own response to the video that Lars put recently concerning the topic that we are discussing. I would like to congratulate first Michelle and Lars as well for the great work they have invested into this. And but I have a few things taking from last video. The first thing that Lars started to mention is he took from what Michelle said to what being Australian means, and he did a very good job in showing us that being Australian doesn't just mean enjoying the hot summers and the barbecues and all other things we may think of, but being Australian goes beyond that. And he says, according to a quote from the Department of Immigration's website, he says that being Australian also means having certain values within us, and values of mutual respect, values of compassion. And to be honest, these are the values that actually built this nation more than 100 years ago. But that's actually contradictory to what Lars is saying as to why we shouldn't embrace asylum seekers. Because when you are compassionate, or when you have compassion, that implies you have to be able to stretch your hand to a person who is in need of help. And asylum seekers come here because they need help. They don't come here for tourism. They don't come here for fun. They come because they are in serious troubles and they need people who can actually come to their help. And another thing that Lars goes on saying, he took quite a good some time to define what being nationalistic is, and he says nationalism is good, and he, according to my understanding from his point, his argument, it's like there are two types of nationalism. There is one which is simple nationalism, and there is the second one which is extreme nationalism. And Lars then refutes the fact that nationalism is bad because, according to him, we have a misconception of the concept, or a misunderstanding of the term, that we look at nationalism only on an extremism point of view. But here is the problem. Where do we draw the line between what he calls patriotic feelings and real extreme nationalism, which I defend? Not defend that I support it, but which I say it exists. Where do we draw the line? Because when he says that nationalism is to be understood only within the confines of honoring your flag and singing the national anthem with respect and all those things, well, but these are only the prerequisite to extreme nationalism, because most of the time the people who fight others for the sake of their country are the people who have extremely high respect for their flag, and they have higher respect for their national anthem. So those people are actually telling us that whatever concerns my country that you touch, well, I will touch you back. And that's being extreme, also already practicing extreme nationalism. So real nationalism, according to me, is to be understood within the confines of going too far. Going too far means not just simple respect for your country, but the respect at the point where you can sacrifice anything and everything, even human life, just to save your country. And I really don't think we are allowed in the Bible to kill other people, or to refuse to help people in danger because we want to save our own country. The Bible itself is very clear on this point, because when God identifies himself as the father of the fatherless and the husband of the widows, it's it gives to me an inclination that God is has a humanitarian heart, and yeah, it shows to me that he's got a humanitarian heart, and that heart extends to Mark chapter 10 verse 14, where Jesus is actually welcoming strangers, children here, into his arms, and he tells the disciples, let these children come to me. So what does that mean? That if people are actually in need of help, let them come to me. Psalm 46 verse 1 or verse 2 says that our God is our refuge. So it means that when we don't have a place where we feel safe, we run to God, and he is the strong tower that we should run into. The Bible itself is full of examples of people who've been refugees and asylum seekers. I do acknowledge that in those days there was no United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees or UNHCR or the Refugee Council or whatever organization defends the right of asylum seekers and refugees. I acknowledge that. And based on that, I want you to do me a favor, that for the sake of this presentation, we accept that the terms refugee and asylum seeker are synonymous, which we all know it's not true, because a refugee is a refugee. An asylum seeker is still on his way to seek refuge. But for the sake of this presentation, let's take all of them mean the same thing. And based on this premise, we find that the Bible is full of asylum seekers and refugees. Moses is the first case. Moses kills an Egyptian, then he gets into another situation where he has to solve a problem between two Israelites. Then one of them turns to him and says, Moses, do you want to kill us as you killed the Egyptian? Moses then realizes that the matter is known in the country. What does Moses do? He runs away from Egypt in search for a safe haven. He goes into another country and lives in the house of Jethro, his father-in-law. What is that? Asylum seeker. The other case that we may have, there are so many cases, but another very important case is the case of Jesus in the Gospels. Joseph, in a dream, receives a warning from angel Gabriel, who tells him that Joseph, you gotta take the child, the newborn baby, and his mother, and go far from this place, because Herod is actually going to kill all the children under the age of 2. Then Joseph, the next morning, he takes the child and the mother, and they run away from the place where Herod had dominion, which means that they ran away from one country into another, because there were threats of death behind and there was persecution behind. What is that? Jesus was an asylum seeker in the first days of his life. And from there, the Son of Man came to give us a very clear picture of the people that he defines. And when Lars mentions the fact that Jesus was a nationalistic, and because he told the woman who wanted her daughter to be healed, that he called her dog. Well, what response will you then give to us when Jesus says that I came for the lost sheep of Israel? You can tell me lost sheep still of Israel, but what would you say further when he says that the doctor doesn't come for those who are well, but for those who are sick? So it means that he is ready to embrace those who come even from other places, and he can accept all of us into one kingdom. And Paul himself says, now in this kingdom there is no Gentile, there is no Greek, all of us, we are one. So which means that when other people who do not belong to this country can still make their way and come here, our first response is to accept them and help them to be part of us. So nationally, the thing of asylum seeker or seeking refuge is actually supported by the Bible itself. Lars misses a point. He does not link Christianity to the concept of nationalism. He just goes to the conclusion of saying that Christianity and nationalism coexist or they support each other. Well, they do not, because nationalism, in my opinion, is can go up to the level of extremism just for the sake of your country, and this is not acceptable for all of us. And he also misses the point to to show us why his defense goes to the conclusion of saying that Australian Christians should not accept asylum seekers. We only hear about that only in the conclusion when he says, "Okay, then Australian should not accept asylum seekers." So we should actually work to prove that fact. Why, as Australian, and more importantly, as Christians, we should accept asylum seekers. So I have shown you here why we should accept asylum seekers as Australians, because our values actually correspond with accepting asylum seekers. Why, as Christians, we should accept asylum seekers? Because the Bible is full of examples, and God Himself is an image of someone who is ready to welcome people coming from overseas. All of us, we are not Jewish, but we are not part of the kingdom of God. So, and then I have shown you why I don't defend nationalism, because it goes to the extent of extremism, meaning that I can do everything in my power, including refusing to give a chance of life to others just to defend my own country. All right, thank you very much, and I'm sorry I went to nearly 12 minutes in this video. I hope you enjoy it, and probably you find me back. Thanks.